All right. Hello, everybody. Let's get started on idea tasting and how to test your ideas before you turn them into a service-based business workshop or course. So one of the ways, I'm just going to jump right in so everybody can get started. One of the ways I like to do this is through Meetup. So we'll start with the idea validation phase. And then we'll start here with showing you what Meetup is. So Meetup's a platform that used to only be in person, and they changed it during COVID to where it allows online events. So there's a lot of workshops offered on Meetup. And basically, the cost, if everybody's wondering how that works, is it's usually $50 a month if you only do a month. If you do annually, it drops it down to $27 a month. You get to create 3 groups and unlimited workshops or meetings for the group. So it's pretty easy to do. Once you set it up, you only need 3 things. You need, I guess, 4 things. You need a group image, an event image or workshop image for each of the workshops, and a group logo. And that's it. That's really all you need to get started. So the part I like about using Meetup to validate service-based ideas or workshop ideas is you should have feedback within about 2 weeks at most. Like if people are not joining your group within the first week, like it should go through a Monday, Tuesday cycle. That seems to be when most of the people add. So if it goes through at least one Monday, Tuesday cycle, ideally 2 Monday, Tuesday cycles, then you should have at least people joining, at least 1 a day, preferably more than that. And then you know you've hit a good topic. Your copy is right, people are interested in it, your photo's right. There's a lot of things that tells you. If you go through the first week and a Monday, Tuesday cycle, and there are literally 0 ads to your group, then you're missing something. I would rework that before you go jumping into building that as a business. So let me stop sharing here real quick to make sure that we don't have any questions. Okay. So let's go back to that. Okay, back to where we were at. Sorry about the interruption. I was trying to see if we had questions during that part of the meeting. So we'll go back to share screen here. And I'll go through it pretty quickly for everybody. So on here, this is what Meetup looks like. This is how you can see kind of the events. So for you, things will come up depending on what you have selected as your interests or that's going on for your group interests. Keep in mind they can be from anywhere. So you can search for events, like for example, Mastermind in San Jose, California. So you can see what would come up under those events. You can see what other people are offering under those events, and you can see how popular they are. So for example, this one here had 21 attendees. It was a word game party. You can switch it to online only. So when you search for the workshops and you're doing your research, you can kind of see who's already doing stuff and how many people are interested. So right here, you got 1 attendee, 2 attendees. This one has 9. One of the key things to look at here is when you have 9 attendees, or to think about, you would have maybe 1 or 2 people show up. That doesn't sound like a lot, but it really is. When you're trying to validate an idea or a business or see if a target market fits, it really matters, even if it's just 1 person, because that 1 person can provide a lot of valuable feedback. And if you don't get anybody signing up, that also provides feedback, because then you realize that, well, rather than putting a whole bunch of time and effort into that workshop or that topic, that's really not a place that people are interested in or a thing that people are interested in. Now, it might be the location. You can always try changing the location to see if that changes the interest level of the group. And even if you don't have people sign up to your event, if you have people joining your group, that can mean it's a worthwhile topic, right? So the key is to find out if the topic's worth pursuing. First of all, if there's interest, you can tell that by how many people are joining the group, and then to see if there's a target market fit. which you can tell by talking to the real people that show up to your event. If 1 or 2 people sign up, sometimes they'll show up, but sometimes you'll just end up with an event where nobody's there. You can still record it and use it on your YouTube, or use it as a reason to go ahead and go through the material and keep posting your channel or content as well. So it's not a total loss, even if nobody shows up. But you can start seeing what some of the hot topics are. Like on this one, there's 46 people that said they're going to attend this hybrid event in New York. And you can start to look at the actual, the organizer. So you can see here, they've already built it up to 726 members. And let's see here, it looks like it's part of an Azure tech group. So they have 174 groups. That's a lot of groups. So there's quite a bit you can learn from this too. If you want to research some of your potential competitors, you can see how many people have recently joined stuff, what other events they are offering. You can learn about the people that are interested in these things. So for example, you can look on people, look at people that review the event. You can see what their interests are. You can see how many groups they're part of, how many interests they have, how many RSVPs they've had, how long they've been on the platform. So they've been there since 2010. You can see what they work in, what they're looking to or for, and then so make friends, professionally network, socialize, hobbies, and then about. So you can start to actually get a feel for what your target audience might look like without investing a whole bunch of time and effort into that particular audience right away. So the next thing to keep in mind with Meetup is it's really easy to change your identity. So if you want to go through a whole bunch of different business ideas, right? Say you want to test, I don't know, an online cooking class, a AI strategic growth revenue one, or a building healthy self-esteem one, for example. This one has 199 people that say they're going to attend this particular one. It has 502 reviews. You know, it could be, if you have experience in that area, maybe worth building a workshop or two in that particular sector to see if that's something you would want to do. The other interesting thing it does is it tells you right here how many people would be attending the first time, what kind of the distribution is, the age ranges, shared interests that are common. You can see comments. So the point of all of that is you can start looking at other workshops in your area of expertise. It doesn't have to be in your physical area, and see kind of what those people look like. What would it be like to work with them? So let's go back to how does this all help you, right? Well, what I usually start with is I go to GPT or Claude if I don't have a list already made, and you ask it, if you really need to, put your resume in or write out a big description of some things you've done. And then you can ask it for workshop ideas that it thinks you could host. Ideally, you have some of your own ideas too that are in there, and you think maybe you want to teach a course on gardening or cooking or AI agents or anything like that, right? So then you would start building a group. You're allowed 3 groups per Meetup account. So that means that you can be in 3 different places, right? So the way the Meetup groups work is you don't have to live where you list them. So you can build a group in New York, you could build one in Pennsylvania, you could build one in Ireland, you can have a group in the UK. It really does not matter. Like, they have them all over the world. I recommend picking a big city because you will have more views or eyes on the event a lot of times. So you can research different cities, for example. So if you're doing a gardening workshop, for example, you may research what big cities have the largest number of home gardeners and then start out with that city. So you might say Minneapolis, Minnesota has the most gardeners in the country, right? So I would probably put together a workshop in Minneapolis and put it on here. I'd set up my group in Minneapolis. I would make sure it's very garden focused. And then you would start creating the workshop titles, and you'd start creating the workshop copy and the group description to see if you can attract a crowd. This right here is what tells you if your idea is going the right direction. If you start getting people and they show up, that's your proof. There's people interested in what you have to say for the workshop. Um, if you don't, or if you don't like the people, for example, there have been workshops that I've ran that I thought, oh, I'd really like this group of people, and I'm like, wow, that was not my group, right? Like, just no. So when you do that, say you're like, I'm done. I've had it, right? For example, one of the groups that I started was workshops for entrepreneurs. So when I created this group, I thought, well, that would be interesting for entrepreneurs. As you can see, it has 11 members. Okay, that's been on here for several months. There's no point in keeping it. It does have one good rating, so that's great. You can kind of see what they had to say, you know. Um, and that was just kind of a workshop that I ran for different idea generations. But in all reality, that group is going nowhere. So what I would do is I would come in here and you go transfer group ownership and close the group instead. I understand. You're just going to get rid of it. And I don't know. We'll just go with that. Not getting enough interest. There we go. Close group permanently. So when you do that, voila, it closed the group. So I no longer have that group there. Now I can build 2 more groups. So one of the things that I would say with that is that's how easy it is, right? If you want to start a group, so say you're like, okay, I'm done with that sector. I need to test this other business idea. You can start creating your group right here. You just hit the create group button. You pick your location, where you want it to go. You're going to pick your topics that you want it to be listed in. And when you pick these topics, the cool part is Meetup emails everybody that has that topic selected that there's a new group in their area that they might be interested in. And here's the group. So your group gets this promotion, this first run by eyes to see if anybody's interested. And then after that, of course, even if people didn't see that email from Meetup, they will still start seeing events in their feed. So basically, if they go to their Meetup page, they'll start to see events here, like for you. What are ones coming up that are in the categories that they had selected? So your event might be listed, for example, right here in the For You section for those topics you selected for it. So you can reinvent yourself that easy. It's literally a group image, a bio picture, and an event workshop picture, and that's it. So I put together, this is on Google Docs, you guys can have, by all means, it's free on there too. So how to pick a Meetup workshop to test. That kind of tells you to go through your list of ideas. Some notes on this is when you're picking your ideal audience, think about a couple of things. One, how likely they are to show up. So if they're a highly introverted or anxious group, if they do show up, they may not want to be on camera. So there's that side of it. They may just want to listen to the workshop. If they're busy parents, for example, or busy, corporate jobs or whatever they might be, think about what time zones that might work best for people. I found usually Tuesday nights are really good. Wednesday nights aren't bad. Thursdays are not bad. Weekends are tough because people are usually doing something on the weekends. But that's not saying that you can't. Some events might even do better on weekends, depending on your workshop. So it kind of depends on your group. If you're looking at it for a business validation perspective, then keep in mind that business-related markets are higher profit. They just are. So if you're trying to validate an idea, at least from my experience, and you have 2 options, you can go on the personal relationship route or the business route. Go for the business route. It's easier to market and it's easier to sell because the cost benefit ratio is there for people. It's easier to see. If I give you an hour of my time, I'm going to save this much money. So it's almost like a no-brainer in some cases, right? Like if you're showing them how to do something that is going to save them an hour and they're making even $15 an hour, then you just save them an hour of their time or work or $15. If you're saving a professional an hour of work and they charge $100 an hour, then they will be more likely to buy a $100 product from you, because they look at it as, well, geez, that saved me an hour a day. It's already paid for itself, right? So when you're doing workshops, I highly recommend more of the business sector. It's just far easier to work with. They also tend to show up more. So because they're motivated to start businesses, or they're running a business, or they have a reason and want to make money. If it's for fun, sometimes people will show up. It really depends. There is a law of attraction group, I think, in Oregon, and some of my research that I was doing, that has like thousands of members, and they have a very large group show up every week. So again, they're just kind of ideas of what sometimes makes more money and sometimes doesn't. But don't let it scare you off from an idea if you want to go a different route, right? Like, by all means, I have done like workshops for speed dating, on like how to ask questions during speed dating. And I actually had a huge turnout to that one. For me, it was like, 20 or more people signed up in just a matter of 2 days. And like 5 to 6 people actually showed up to the event, which was a really big turnout for something that had such short notice. So I recommend generating 1 to 3 different ideas and then try and create workshop titles for them. So you can do that again just yourself. You can ask AI. It really doesn't matter, because you're going to test it regardless, right? Whichever idea or whichever route you go, the whole point is to put it on Meetup and see if people sign up. So kind of a checklist I put together here is for starting the Meetup workshops, I highly recommend setting up a free Proton email account, because Meetup sends like a gazillion emails. So if you don't want to log into Meetup all the time to see how many people are joining your group, if you just set up a Proton account, it has an app you can download on your phone. You can easily just check that email. And if you're getting emails saying that new members have joined your group, then it's worth keeping. Then you're building people and clients, and your copy's probably pretty good. And then just check it before the workshop to see if there's enough people to continue hosting it. So all of that said, there's the email account option, the online meeting link. So make sure that you have some way to host it. You need to be able to host it on Zoom, Google Workspace, Skoool, any other platform of your choosing. If you're worried about auto renews, which I have not had a problem with Skoool, you can buy those prepaid credit cards and just use that, so it doesn't auto renew. And they do take those on the platform. And then create a file on your computer that has everything you're going to need for Meetup. So save a copy of this document in there, right? And whatever else you create, the images for the group, and you'll see a few more things that you'll want to add. But that way it's all in one place for your test of Meetups. So I highly recommend having all 3 Meetup groups funnel to one workshop, right? You can have multiple workshops. I've ran, I think 3 in a day is the most I've ran, but you have all 3 groups go to all 3 workshops. So that way you get more people. You should have at least 10 people is the goal for a workshop, because then you should get at least 1 or 2 to show up. So that's why I recommend you have 3 groups, 3 different cities, and then it's up to you whether you want to test different copy in each different city and just have them go to the same location, as long as it's the same topic, obviously, and the same workshop, but you might test a different image or slightly different wording between the 3 cities to see, if one grabs more attention than another one. Or you can make them all the same. So if you're just in a hurry and you're like, you know what, I just want to get a workshop started, I'm going to get out there and see what happens. So then you just make one set of stuff and you put it on all 3 Meetups, and then you're fine. You can even copy the event and set it for a different day and time. And then you don't even have to remake that part of it. It's literally just one setup. So that said, you'll want the Word document or Google Doc with all of this information, so you can save a copy of this or make your own, where you have your profile description for the bio. Yeah, you can have the group description, your single question you ask new members. That's a great way to get market data, and your welcome message. But somewhere list the 3 cities and their zip codes and time zones. Make sure that they all work together for the groups that you create. And then you do event workshop descriptions and then the single question to ask new members also in there. The images you need are the profile group image, the group image, and the event or workshop image. So, and then this is just kind of a worksheet to fill in if you want to help kind of organize things. We have the email you use, since often it's creating the free Proton account, the meeting link so that you know where it is all the time. You can use the same meeting link each time. You just risk having spammers drop in, which is kind of inconvenient. But at the same time, if you're going for ease of use, you can just do that and then copy and paste it between the groups. And then just your account information that you want. And then there's also a host section. So you're going to have your host information on there as well. So there's the group information and picture, and then there's the host information and picture. And then there's the meetup group name and the meetup group description, just so it's, like I said, all in one place. And then kind of a tracker I put together for the time zone that the events are in, or the groups are in, and then the days and the time that you were doing the workshop. So like if I were to put in here, I could put in here like the time that I wanted to work a workshop and then have it go on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, for example. And then there's a question you can ask members when they RSVP to the workshop as well. So this is just kind of a quick document that you can use to fill out all the information you'll need before you go to fill out a meetup group and create a group. So let's keep moving on here because we're already halfway through. I will show you one of the groups I have already made. And this one here is the Workshops for Entrepreneurs, but it was a much more successful group. It had 8 ratings and already, and it has 92 members. And then it kind of has the About Us. It has different events that were created in the past, who attended them. And this is one of the few groups that I have not deleted and moved. So, but people have stopped adding as much, so I need to go through and kind of refresh it and get some more content in there and some more workshop information for people so that it might attract a little bit more attention. So say like, for example, with this group, it has 92 members. One of the things you can do is you can try Pro, which is where you upgrade your account. And it's $50 a month, but it allows you to email all of the participants that signed up for the group directly, like to their actual email that they use for Meetup. So it integrates into MailChimp, and then it's like building your email list for you. So as long as you have people joining your groups, then you're building your email list in MailChimp with Meetup. So when you look at it from that perspective, $50 a month if you were to use Pro, and you were getting 100 members a month in your group, that's less than $1 per new lead. And it also allows you to, if you do Pro, enter your web address and link it more to your business. If you decide to continue with a workshop that you really enjoy, so you start getting a lot of ratings, people start joining a whole bunch, and you don't want to move it, then you may consider upgrading to Pro. That way you can start collecting email addresses, link it more to your business page, and turn it more into the start of a business rather than a validation and testing phase. So all of that said, we're going to switch over here to Wando. And with Wando, let me just make sure that I am on full screen share and that it's doing the entire screen. Okay, so what I do is I use Wando to come in here and make all of my meetup images. And you can do that in a few different ways. This is a tool that we created. That was the one that anybody that attends gets the free code for. But one of the reasons I like this is it has a social media tab, and I can come in here and create custom sizes. So Meetup has some odd sizes. They have the 400 by 400 is pretty standard. So for example, if I were to go Meetup logo or badge there and put that back in, it is as simple as saying, that's the size I want. Here's the platform I want, and then add preset. And then if you want one of its weirder sizes, for example, the Meetup event is 580 by 320. So You can just type it in there, 580 by 320, and it adds a preset just like that. So, and it has some presets already put over here. You can go to the platform you're looking at. There's Skoool, Threads, TikTok, YouTube, any of those. In this particular case, we're going for Meetup. And then we want, it doesn't matter on that particular one because we're going with the group image size. And then we would want, say we want the same prompt, but we want it for a Meetup group. Then we would select if we want Banana Pro or Banana version 2, Flux, the model over here. And then you could just go ahead and go through and it would create another image in that exact size. So it would be the proper group image. Excuse me. Say you want to come back over here and you want it to give you, like you need some more ideas for a group or a workshop, right? You could type in here and chat with it just like you do with GPT, or you can pick Claude if you want to go to Claude or Gemini, as long as it has the web search here. So you can treat this interface just the same way as you do GPT. You can add in files like so. You can, the difference is you can just pick your model up here and you just pay with tokens. You don't have a monthly subscription. And then as long as it says web search, that's giving you access to the online model. Another option you can do is say, you're like, I just need a group image. Let's see. So let's do an image of 2 gardeners planting a sunflower, right? And a workshop title, Planting Your Future. And something like that. So that's not very descriptive, right? And you're probably not going to get a very good image. So one of the things you can do is come over here on that little toolbar there, and you get to select things. So right here, you could add in, for example, instead of having the 2 gardeners right here, you could say, you could go with 2 gardeners in their 20s with red hair. Okay. And then a background. So let's look for the background because say I don't really necessarily want to type in all of that information for background. Let's go with farmland right here. So then we've got an art style. Say I want people to know it's definitely AI generated, right? So I'm going to go with a comic strip, maybe something like that. Or maybe I want it to be more photorealistic. You can pick all kinds of different things. Whatever some of these are in here are a little bit different. Some of them are minimalistic, managed style. You have macro photography, pixel art, stained glass could be an interesting one. Steampunk. So you could have a steampunk art style with farms and crops. And you could pick lighting, for example. So your lighting could be blue hour, campfire, candlelight. Let's go fluorescent, hazy, lantern light. Let's go twilight, right? Okay. And you can edit it here as well if you want to. So once you're done building a prompt with all of the wide angle dramatic perspective, for example, you can pick the camera lens. You can also pick a color palette if you have specific brand colors you want, and a mood or an atmosphere. So if we want maybe authentic, right? So this could be an interesting image. So we insert the prompt, okay, and we're going to go ahead and there we go. Planting. Okay. So then we have the workshop title right here. See, so what do we want? Image of 2 gardeners planting a sunflower, and a workshop title. Here we go. Let's put the workshop title down here. So then workshop title, planting your future. Okay, so it just did all of that for me, or adding in all of the details. And then right down here, it's going to show creating. So then while it's creating, you can do another prompt if you want to. So say we're like, okay, maybe I want to try and do a workshop on AI image generation, right? So you could do a modern image. So with magic chat, right? We can try to do the prompt over here. A prompt for an AI image generation workshop. And then it'll go through and sometimes it'll do that if it's being particularly fussy. But most of the time, it'll go ahead and create the prompt for you. And then it'll put the prompt over here. And you can do multiple prompts at different times or at the same time. So right now, like we could put a modern image of modern image for a workshop on AI image creation. Okay, so we were in the middle of typing when this one showed up, but you could go ahead and just keep hitting play, and then it'll keep showing the image generation over here. So this kind of gives you what it would look like in this particular style, right? So you can refine it, and that will let you change details about it. So maybe you want to change the details and say, instead of planting your future, change future to planting your fortune. Yeah. So then you could go through and you could use Nano Banana, or you could also use Seedream if you want to see what it does. So we can just go ahead and render another one. So we're doing Nano Banana and Seedream right there. While we're waiting on those, we can play with this image if we want to and edit it. So we can go ahead, and the blend feature is actually if you want to blend two images together. So that's if you want to add another image in here and blend it. That's where you can do a different layer. And then you can delete that part. I'll show you where to blend it here in just a second. Let's do the other part first. So say you decided you didn't like the E on future, right? So you can go to paint. You can select the point that you want it to look like. Oops, sorry about that. Here we go, the dropper. So you pick the drop of the color you want, right? And then you pick the paintbrush and you can come in here and you can make that smaller, of course, too. So you can zoom in and make the pixels. Here we go. Okay, so then like right here. So you can come in and erase this little part with that color right there if you want to. You can Control Z and it brings it back. Maybe you don't like, I don't know, this lettuce right here, and you just want that to be, I don't know, something green like this hill. So you can also select that and bring it over here and just basically erase that little portion. Okay, you can do different things where you can add text. So there's an option to add text and shapes. So you can add a text layer in here. Oh, I added two text layers. Sorry. So you'd have your text layer and you'd type in text layer and shape. There we go. And you could put your text right here if you want to. You get to pick the size you want it. So say you want it 40 and you want it to be this color here or even over here. Okay, you can also pick a hex code for it to be in. And then you can center it to one side, or you can move it in the center. So you can add different text that way as well. And you can change the type of text you want. So say you want a Cascadia code, or maybe you want, I don't know, Comic Sans. There you go. And put it in here that way. You can transform, so you can flip or edit it as well. And then you can remove the background, and then the blending. I know we're running a little bit short on time, so I'll just kind of run through the other part. The blending is where you add another image, and then you use the reveal tool to reveal the image under it. So, for example, if you were to have the light bulb image under here, you would be able to go in here and see that light bulb underneath. So that one is a pretty cool feature as well. So you can add another layer, you can merge other layers, you can duplicate layers. So for example, if we want 2 of these layers, there we go, that'll be the easiest way for the blend tool at the moment. You can go through here and then you would blend, and it would bring up the image under it. So I need to pick the other image for it. Anyway, you're getting a little off topic. So let's go back over here. Continue with unsaved changes. We just discard. And this kind of gives you the option between the 2 edits. So there's the Nano Banana edit where it changed Future to Fortune. And here's the Sea Dream edit from Future to Fortune. So you can kind of see the difference between 2. This one made the bricks a lot darker. This one here kept them a little bit lighter. This one was originally a little bit lighter. So you can see Sea Dream was actually more accurate in the editing. And those are just some of the features that you can do. You can also adjust and crop. So you can change the size of the image if you want to in this particular one. And you can also, here we go. You can pick a specific size. So say you decide you want to take a square out of it that's a 1:1 ratio. You can do that out of any section, and that kind of shows you what it would look like if you were going to try and crop it that way. Or if you wanted your portrait 1:2, that's what it would look like as well. So maybe you want to just crop out certain sections to meet image requirements. You could try to do it that way. And then there's also a batch resize option as well. So you can do your social media resize. Excuse me. So you may pick, like, say you want to do Facebook from this one right here. So let's see here. We would go the social media resize, the Facebook ad, and then we would go to apply, and then that would give you that version for the manual crop. And then if you wanted to resize it to a bunch of different social medias at the same time, like for example Facebook, then this one here says upscale for best. So then you can pick an upscaler that you want it to do, and that tells you your best results. And then when you're all ready, you would hit apply, and then it would upscale the image and size it right there. So it would do that specific resizing for you. Okay, so there we go, and then that should be the right size. If you click on the image, it'll tell you the size it is now. So it's a 13. Where did my little note go? If you go to, one of the easier ways for me to do this is in the workspaces, you get to pick different workspaces. So you can also pick and organize all of your AI folders in one place. So you can bring in your images from ChatGPT, you can upload the ones from Midjourney, you can upload a bunch of different images that you have already into here, and then you can organize them into different workspaces. So you can have your Skoool workspace, you could have your Wando workspace in my case, right? And you can also add new workspaces. So you can add workspaces or you can duplicate workspaces if you're doing work for clients and some of it's similar and you just want to duplicate it over. You can also do that. Um, so we can go back to the gallery here and we can pick, let's see, the default workspace here or the synced workspace. And then it should bring up all of the images that you have in that particular workspace. So for example, right here, this one was the one we just did, and it shows the details and it tells you where it came from, the image it came from. So its source image is right here. And then that source image has, this one here is just where the change was made and the wording. And then you have the original image right here, and you have the original prompt that went with the image. So say you made an image that you would really like and you want to go back to it. That's one way to do it. So that's a little off topic and everything, but that kind of shows you a little bit of the capabilities of why I use Wando. It also just has a lot of different features that I really like the social medias tab and making the images the exact size you need them. So that's how I would go ahead and create the images. You can use GPT or any of the other image models as well to create images for your meetup group. And we're almost out of time. So we did a brief overview, just kind of as a recap of why I would use Meetup to test a service or workshop-based business before actually running one. Some of my personal experience from that has been ideas that I thought would be really good, that I put a lot of work into, I would post and nobody would show up. Other ideas, I would put a lot of just thought into them beforehand, create a quick image, throw out a title, and people would show up. And on the one that I actually had the best turnout on, I literally made it the day before the event. So it gives you quick feedback. It's a good way to do that. It's pretty inexpensive. You can run as many workshops as you want. You can delete yourself and reform yourself as many times as you want. It doesn't affect your social media or anything else. And then the way that I would create all of that is in the program that we made, which was Wando Studios. So if any of you would like a copy of that, we are definitely looking for beta testers. And you can go to the website www.wandostudios.com, and that will bring you to, we'll go ahead and I'll just share the entire screen again, to Wando's homepage. You can do the buy it now option, or you can do a free personalized onboarding session. So say you watch this workshop later and you had more questions about either Meetup or how Wando works or how it could improve your workflow, then I would just go to the free personalized onboarding session and you can schedule a meeting, and that meeting will be with me. I'm the one that does all the onboarding, the workflow setup, and helps everybody with the images and getting started. So helping you set up your workspaces, helping you set up the preset sizes, making sure the chat feature is working. We're still in beta testing, so sometimes you'll run across bugs, but you just tell us what they are and we'll get them fixed as soon as possible. And we can walk you through setting up your API key and everything in it as well. So that is my presentation for tonight. That's how I would taste businesses and test them out. See if you liked a specific audience, see if you liked a specific workshop. That's how I would do the AI image generation for that. You don't have to use AI images for that. You can also use Canva. They're just weird sizes. So sometimes Canva doesn't work the easiest for that. And you usually end up making a lot of them because you'll make a workshop and then maybe it won't work out, or the group won't work out and you'll delete them all and then have to start over. So it's just a lot easier to have the presets right there, make the workshops a little bit easier by doing that. And then you can duplicate those meetings and workshops as you go along if you find one that's working really well. So if you have any questions, go ahead. You can ask me in Skoool. You can ask me through the Wando website. I said if you see the recording and you're interested in being a beta tester for us for Wando Studios, that would be amazing. And good luck with all of your future business endeavors. And if you want to do business brainstorming or idea testing, I have my idea testers group on Skoool. It's free to join. I'm the one that runs it, and I often offer live meetings for anybody that's interested. And we can work through some of your ideas together to see which ones might have the most potential. Maybe you're having issues after you create a meetup workshop and you want some help with that. Just hop in the group and let us know what we can help with, and have a great evening.